Thank you for joining us. Let's get into our next conversation. The World Bank has warned that about 7.1 million poor Nigerians will become poorer or poor if the federal government failed to compensate or provide palliatives for them following the removal of fuel subsidy. According to the World Bank, in the June 2023 edition of the Nigeria Development Update on Tuesday in Abuja, it warned that the number could hit 101 million. This was disclosed during the launch of the June 2023 edition of the Nigeria Development Update in Abuja. The Washington-based lender also said, according to the World Bank data, 89.8 million Nigerians were poor as of the beginning of this year. The lender noted that additional 4 million Nigerians became poor between January and May this year, raising the figure to 93.8 million Nigerians. All right, so there you have it. Let's get talking now. The implications of this. Olushola Oloyeye is a policy analyst. He joins us now. Thank you for your time. We appreciate you, and happy holiday to you.
Okay, thank you very much, and I'm happy to be on your show this morning.
It's good to have you. So, okay, let's get started. In the wake of the World Bank's alarming warning that about 101 million Nigerians are at risk of falling into poverty, how effectively do you think that some of the reforms witnessed from Tinubu in the last 3 weeks of his administration will address the crisis that Nigerians are currently facing?
Okay, thank you very much, and thank you for bringing this up. It's exactly 1 month into the new administration. This happened to be June 29, and Mr. President withdrew completely. He says subsidy is gone. And so looking back in the last 1 month, it has been very tough for Nigerians. And it's, I'll say it's bitter and at the same time sweet. And so I would like to cap it by saying, tough time, don't last, but tough people do. This is what we have currently been experiencing, and looking at the kind of reforms that have been put in place, and quite a whole lot of palliatives, just like World Bank have said, needs to be put in place to be able to reduce the burden on Nigerians. And to start with, consideration for change in minimum wage is one of the major front burner to be able to reduce the burden. They need to improve the healthcare system, and they need to put more of the fund withdraw from subsidy to address issue of education is one of the things that are going to also be addressed. And the need to use compressed natural gas to be able to substitute for the use of petroleum product, PMS, are one of the major palliatives that have been put forward as way to be able to address some of this issue, just to mention a few.
Okay. A tough time never lasts. Tough people do. As it is now, it looks like the tough people that we have in Nigerians are politicians, the rich. Those are the people that can, perhaps survive the time at the moment. But again, the concerns are how will most vulnerable Nigerians go through this time. So talk to us about how well is President Tinubu responding to the fallout of some of these policies that are being carried out. First is the removal of subsidy. The second is that the unified exchange rate has also jacked up the Naira up the exchange rate to around 763 as at Monday's trade, or Tuesday's trade rather. And so how well do you think he's attending to some of the fallout that has been created by his reform so far in the last 1 month?
Okay, considering the fallout and the response so far, I think for us to give a proper assessment of the response, as at now, most of the responses have been set up of committees to be able to look into agreeing what the new minimum wage will be. He's also been able to address the independent marketers. He's been able to speak in terms of, I would say, in terms of communication and engagement. I'll score him quite very high. He's been able to engage quite different stakeholders at all levels to carry them along about these reforms. I think the next key thing now, which will be the major next form of assessment, is execution of some of the, recommendations that these committees have made, because Nigerians cannot wait for too long to start seeing, response in terms of real actions as against, let's put the talk into action. Okay, we want to increase minimum wage. What figure are we looking at? How soon can this money reach the hands of people? Okay, we want to use compressed natural gas. How quickly and how many vehicles are we going to start, be putting on the road to be able to support? And then if there are any form of quick healthcare programs that we are going to start benefiting from, so as to quickly being able to reduce this amount of burden and reduce the number of people that are going to be thrown into the poverty line. These will be the next key things. But so far, communication-wise and engagement, I'll score them quite very good.
Oh, okay. Let's also talk about his body language to, how he's going to go about this. It looks like there are no concrete plans. You talked about the fact that whether it's going to be mass transit. The former administration talks about how they were going to roll out, buses, to see how they can cushion the effect of subsidy removal in the area of transportation. What matters to average Nigerian is how they can put food on the table, their mobility, how they can move around without impact or pressure on their pockets, on the money that they have. So, but in his body language, we've not seen concrete actions. So, how optimistic are you that we're going to be seeing some of these actions in the coming days?
Okay, so far what I noticed within the first 1 to 2 weeks, immediately the pronouncement was made, talking about the removal of the subsidy. I think the first 3 days there was an engagement with the independent petrol marketers, and outcome of that meeting, the independent marketers were the one that actually made some pronouncement, meaning that Mr. President has taken it beyond just being the federal government speaking to the people, but getting the key stakeholders and the people directly involved to also engage directly. And I understand that they want to do the buses using CNG, and they are going to roll it out 100 first, and then eventually they are looking at rolling initial 500 out, which I believe is still quite very small to address what the current need will be. So I would say the body language is that there is really a move to solve the problem. Only we need to put this move into quick actions. Okay. Nigerians can't wait for too long. The pain is much.